Hi, welcome to our daily encounter. Today we read about the last few tribes now getting the land allotted to them. And so now all the tribes are set up, they're stationed where they're supposed to be, and they have received their inheritance. And that must have been a joyful situation for them because now they have a place to call home. While they were in the wilderness for 40 years, they didn't have a place to call home. They were living out of makeshift houses. They were traveling from this place to the other. Some of the people in the generation that we're reading about today didn't know anything but the wilderness. And so to finally get into a place that you can call home and say, okay, this is my inheritance, this is the portion that the Lord has given me, that must have been a wonderful thing. And to know that it was permanent. If you remember, even if they had to sell part of their property, they would receive it back in the year of Jubilee. God was very intent on making sure that everyone not only received their inheritance, but that they retained their inheritance permanently. And so these would be the places where they would live. This is a place where they would engage in various activities. This was their space of responsibility. It's the place that they would work. It would be the land that they would work. This was the land that they were supposed to protect. This was home. And again, it must have been a great feeling to be home. And as I was thinking about that, I couldn't help but think about what it must feel like when we finally make it to heaven. When we're here on earth, we just get that feeling from time to time that, I just don't feel like this is my home. We see how temporary everything is around us. We see our loved ones getting older. We have to experience our loved ones passing away. We experience the things in this life, the things that we buy brand new today, in 10 years are ready for the junk pile. You just get that feeling like, this is not our permanent dwelling place. And when we think about what Jesus had promised to the disciples, he said that he was going back to the Father to prepare a dwelling place for us. And so we do have a dwelling place waiting for us in heaven, a permanent residence, a place that we can really call home. And to know that that little portion, that inheritance that we have waiting for us in heaven will never pass away. It's guaranteed to us. However much God was intent on making sure that they received their inheritance and retained it, that's how much more He is intent on making sure that we obtain our inheritance and also retain it as well. And not only just for this life, but throughout eternity. So it'd be nice when we enter heaven and just say, I can stay here forever. And I don't have to worry about having to go to another place or any of those other things. I have a permanent residency. That's going to be a great feeling. So that's one thing we can walk away with as we read about these tribes receiving their inheritance. But there's something else we can also contemplate as well. And that has to do with where we are today. Because each of us as Christians have received an allotment. We have received a portion in this world that God has planted us in for a particular purpose. In other words, what I mean by that is that I believe that you are in the neighborhood that you're in the city that you live in, or the town that you live in, you're in the neighborhood that you live in for a particular purpose. I also believe that God puts us in certain workplaces for a particular purpose. The job that you go to, you might think, well, it's just a job that I make money at. But it could be that God has placed you there to reach another person, or to be an influence on someone, or to accomplish something else that you're not aware of yet. God gives us a certain sphere of influence, a certain place on this earth where we can influence others, where we can make a difference, where we can help others, where we can bless others. I think sometimes we get away from that. We don't realize, hey, I'm here for a purpose. I'm not here just to punch the clock. I'm not here just to waste time. I'm not here just to take up a little bit of space before I die. I'm here for a purpose. I'm at this house for a purpose. I'm in this neighborhood for a purpose. I'm at this job for a purpose. I have this family for a purpose. God has put these children underneath my care for a purpose. And we have to begin to think about things from God's perspective. And to recognize, okay, God has planted me here. Let me be active in the sphere that God has given me. Be faithful in the sphere that God has given me. Be a good steward of the sphere that God has given me. And who knows, maybe one day He'll enlarge that sphere. And we'll be able to influence more people. And if we're faithful there, He'll enlarge it even more. To the point where we'll just be bearing fruit 60-fold, 100-fold, who knows. But we have to be faithful in the places where God has planted us today. And so you might be looking at your life and saying, well, I don't really like where I'm at right now. I don't like my job. I'm in a crummy neighborhood. My family's all messed up. Whatever. We might begin to complain about the allotment that God has given us. But again, if we turn around and say, okay, well, God must have put me here for a purpose, and we begin to try to investigate what that purpose is, pray to the Lord to reveal that purpose and to show us why we are where we are, I think it will change our perspective. And it will also make us, of course, better servants of the Lord to look at things from that perspective. And so as you, I don't know if you're watching this video in the morning or in the evening, in either case, look around you. Look where you're at. Look where God has placed you today. And don't look at tomorrow. Don't look at yesterday. Look at today. Where are you at today? What can you do today to further God's kingdom, to build up the kingdom, to make a difference in this world, in the place where you are today? So many times we're always looking so far ahead, or we're always looking back where we came from. What are we doing with today? This is all we have. Today is what we have right now. Let's make the best of it. So with that, guys, I thank you for watching the video. Once again, I hope it's helpful to you. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.